People say high school mean girls grow up to be nurses. What's the male version of this? I don't get all the cop comments. That is super far from true from my experience. All the bad cops I've ever known were not cool kids in school at all. They are emotionally weak dudes who never had many friends. Many got bullied themselves. The asshole cool meaning crowd type guys never become cops. I've yet to meet a single one. Also, all the good cops I know are just regular dudes and women. Just doing a job. Many really care about their communities and want to better the world at least a little. Not going to argue the ratio of good versus bad, but there are tons of good people out there. The trades because they can continue screaming, yelling, boss around and curse at people, but instead of it being their classmates, it's their co-workers. A lot of guys in the trades cheat, drink, and do drugs too. Also, it's a massive old boys club where they believe that since you're more senior and were treated poorly, the new kids should be treated poorly too and earn their place. Construction owners are also the worst because they have no problem breaking their employees' backs, barely paying them enough to survive, all while they take in millions. In my experience, the popular guys that also bullied others ended up dead or homeless. Most started using while in high school. They kept their lives together for a few years, but then they all started spiraling. One stole from his job to fund his use and would up in prison. Another OD'd. One lost his wife, kids and house and wound up on the streets. Another got stabbed by his dealer. I can't recall a single mean guy that actually didn't crash out. They could turn over a new leaf and actually do something that means a lot to them. Following your passions and allowing yourself to get excited over them makes someone less mean, unless they decide to gatekeep. But I think overall, mean boys who stay mean turn out to be in positions where they can abuse their authority. Cop is most common. Rich usually go into some sort of sales or business. Around here, at least, a lot of the dumb ones just do manual labor their whole life, not a proper trade gig since they're too dumb for it. Just something that abuses their body until it gives out on them. In my experience, it hasn't been nurses, it's been teachers. To the point that if we end up in my small hometown, I might homeschool. For men, they've not even been police officers. Prison guards and straight-up day laborers who can't keep a gig. One guy who was quite a bully got a job at a bank where I had an account. He tried to sell me some investment shit. I said I'd think about it and closed my account because I don't trust my money to stupid people. Do they? Nursing, a profession where you literally need to care for people. I have never heard that. More like they contact you on Facebook after 20 years to flog some bullshit MLM product. The cops in my hometown were the party kids. The ones who threw the parties, smoked all the pot. Now arresting kids for doing the same. Oh, they were and are still total dicks. I really have a hard time seeing how people say this unless it's because they think said mean girls tend to grow up, mature, and do a complete personality 180. There's no male equivalent to a high school mean girl. Boys can't keep up with that. Closest thing may be a Leo. But they probably married the mean girl. They're the ones who grow up to have an unnecessarily loud engine and a collection of bumper stickers that say things like "My other ride is your mom." My daughter and granddaughter were not mean girls. People who say shit like this don't know what they're talking about. I don't know. But all the nurses I've known, including my mum, went into the profession because they wanted to help people. First of all, that's completely inaccurate. High school mean girls turn into strippers and then turn into nurses. I've never heard anyone say that. And every nurse I know are wonderful and kind people. It's this AUS thing. Mean boys grow up to be small business owners, cops, soldiers or career criminals, or some combination of these. My experience has been attorneys, politicians, or government employees, while the ones who didn't end up dead. Cops. One of my bullies is a federal officer in Seattle. He raped my friend and almost raped my sister and I. Sometimes, they become sports business moguls. Other timelines, they become auto detailers. The male version, unemployed and still going to high school parties in their hometown. Cops, but usually small town cops that don't require attendance at a police academy. Car salesmen, military, cops, if they are too dumb for any of these. Prison guards, if they're good at school. Managers or lawyers, if they're bad at school. Cops, multi-level marketing, cops, real estate agent, some useless job at dad's company, ranting in their trucks about people not understanding how dangerous bears are. I grew up to be a warehouse manager, also not nearly as mean as I was as a kid. Deadbeat dads, cops, security guards, tow truck driver, take your pay. If their parents are rich, they can also end up as lawyers and judges. In my experience, they grow up to be convicted of domestic violence. Military, cops, security, and dudes who try to start a podcast. Sales, cops, firefighters, military, painters and roofers. High school athletes become agents at car rental spots. Police or correctional officers, at least in the US.